Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not, and by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. I think that speaks for itself.
All right, guys. Well, breaking news this morning, they got him, thankfully. The Charlie Kirk assassin has been identified and taken into custody. And it turns out the suspect is a 22-year-old male by the name of Tyler Robinson. You did see some reports yesterday accusing a guy named Sky Valadez of perpetrating the shooting. We never pushed that for a reason. It was unverified. It was unsubstantiated. It came from some random internet sleuths. And it turns out, no, Sky is not your guy. But Tyler Robinson, 22, taken into custody in St. George, Utah, indeed is the guy. And there you have it. Now, Utah Governor Spencer Cox has already announced that he will be pursuing the death penalty in this case, and we further did get confirmation this morning that Tyler does appear to be a politically motivated left-wing terrorist. The ATF was stating yesterday that they found pro-transgender, pro-Antifa radical political statements written on the bullet casings that they found buried in the woods. Then they later walked it back in the span of a few hours, and it created this huge confusion, and people were like, what is going on? But this morning, we did learn what was actually written on those things, and yes, indeed, it was left-wing political statements by all accounts. And so we'll get into all of those details. We'll tell you essentially about what authorities do know at this point. But I first of all want to address, because I'm sure some people are asking the question, so Vince, are you going to take back your video yesterday? See, they got the guy, right? If you don't know, last night I made a video kind of calling out the FBI saying, okay, how have you still not found the guy's name when you already have videos and you already have pictures and all this information? But I want to point out to people that no, I'm not taking back anything, because you know how they found Tyler Robinson? He turned himself in. They didn't even know who he was until he turned himself in. And the only reason he turned himself in is because his family convinced him to do so. So frankly, who knows how long this manhunt would have gone if they didn't have that kind of luck of the draw, I guess you could say, right? How long it would have taken for them to figure out that it was Tyler Robinson, had Tyler Robinson not said, hey, it's me, Tyler Robinson. But, you know, ultimately, it is what it is. So I still have to say that in the most advanced country on earth, with all of the taxes that we pay and all the, by the way, violations of our constitutional rights we allow through the national security state, you should be able to ID people like this much easier. Like, if we're going to live in a police state, at least the police state should find and catch the actual criminals and not have to do so basically by dumb luck. But anyways, we'll move on from that point. Not here to litigate or argue it anymore. You can get mad at me all you want. But that said, here are indeed those details, right? The father initially told Robinson to turn himself in. Robinson initially said no, but later changed his mind, officials said. Well, I thank the father, I guess, in this case. Now, there should be plenty of investigations as to, hey, did the father know that his kid was crazy? How did he get the gun? But for now, this is the detail. The father then called a youth pastor, who is also a U.S. Marshals Task Force officer. The officer advised the father to have Robinson stay in place. And then at that point, that was when authorities and an FBI agent said they believed the suspect to be the college-age individual, and essentially they managed to get this guy. Now, that said, I want to tune in here to the press conference, because you're about to hear some very interesting details that, you know, talk about, hey, they got the guy, but further confirm indeed this was a left-winger writing left-wing statements on the bullet casings here. So let's tune in. Here's what's apparently happening with federal authorities.
On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member...
Two things. Okay, so he'd become more political. Obviously, there's a motivation here. He's also wearing the same clothes and caught on camera in his car or something. So can we dispel the myth that this guy was some kind of professional hitman? No, he wasn't. He's a 22-year-old who was probably radicalized by something. And let me tell you, professional hitmen don't call their parents, okay, and then convince their parents to turn themselves in. Professional hitmen don't get caught by authorities wearing the same clothes as they did seen earlier on surveillance footage, okay? They don't make it that easy. So all the people saying, oh, because he took this shot from, 175 yards away, and I know nothing even about guns, and like it's a Mauser, they're meant to take long-range shots. That's kind of the entire point. It's a 30-06, right? It was a clear day, no wind, whatever. I know what I'm talking about. This is a professional hitman. That's why they can't catch the guy. No, it wasn't. I said that at the time. Professional hitmen don't like jump. They probably have a better escape than just jumping off the roof and spraining their ankle. I don't know. You would think, right? So get all that crap out of your head. He's not a professional hitman. This guy, it's kind of appalling that he managed to do this, frankly, that the security at the time never, was able to, hey, secure the rooftop, make sure you don't have another Butler, Pennsylvania. And furthermore, no, I'm not taking back my comments about this. It's shocking to me they could not identify the guy until the guy turned himself in, wearing the same freaking clothes, Which begs the question, what if it was a professional hitman? Then at this rate, you would have never freaking found the guy. But it is what it is. So there you go.
Member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique.
So let me also get all this straight. He's saying all of these things over Discord. Again, not a professional hitman. Nobody on that Discord server thought to say ahead of time before this event, say anything about, hey, this guy seems to be threatening to do something, or even amidst all of it, right? These people on the server know who this is, and the FBI still claiming that they don't know, and there's all this confusion because people are reporting other people who they claim did it but never actually did it. I don't know, right? I'm sure there's plenty of questioning going to be taking place, but the family members, the fellow Discord members, there's a lot of red flags and a lot of questions here as to how the guy, again, got away for so long. They couldn't even announce publicly who he was. It's kind of strange, isn't it?
Just from the contact, Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this?" ? Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" ! Catch! Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow," and a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
Okay, so that's full confirmation the guy was a left-winger and politically motivated. Now, the family member further backs that up because they're talking about how Charlie is full of hate. Okay, newsflash, that's not something, for instance, a far-right individual would be saying. But furthermore, I'm not sure exactly what all those symbols mean. I'm sure they mean something. But you heard the second casing, right? A fascist, catch. Yeah, we know what that means. And the third one sings from Bella Ciao, which is a famous Italian song that is a socialist, anti-fascist protest song. So that can clear up the entire mystery then. So I'm not exactly sure why the ATF walked back anything to begin with, but now there you have it, right? Full confirmation again, left-wing, politically motivated terrorist, and well, likely radicalized by a lot of the people who have been spreading that type of rhetoric, you could imagine. But
we are indebted to law enforcement across the state who's worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over.
yeah, so there you have it. Again, thank God the guy actually was not a professional hitman and was incredibly dumb and, you know, left behind a pretty strong paper trail of everything and didn't change clothes. It appears he drove his own car, etc., etc. So happy to see the guy taken into custody, and obviously he deserves the maximum possible justice is what I will say about that. You, of course, already see people on the left now demanding that it not be politicized, right? Many on the left are hoping the Charlie Kirk shooter turns out to be from the right, and many on the right are hoping the shooter turns out to be from the left. Ironically, Krasenstein is only saying this once it's very obvious the shooter is on the left, right? Most of us are against political violence. None of us want to see it tied down to our own side. Well, look, if you're against political violence, then I agree. I'm also against political violence, and I don't wish violence or condone violence on anyone. And, you know, if you do that, then I condemn you in the most strong terms there. But that said, it is a known fact, actually, that at least half, if not the majority of leftists, according to polls, are not against political violence. Assassination culture, as we've shown you time and time again, widespread and mainstream. 50% to 55% of all liberal voters say, for instance, it would be okay to assassinate Donald Trump or Elon Musk. And this was months ago, by the way, before the Charlie Kirk incident, where you now see massive swaths of people. It's not a small fringe. It's not a small minority going out there online celebrating what happened here. Many people are talking about how in real life they're hearing many of the same stuff. And it's not anecdotal. It's not like a case of just a few radical people, because again, the polling here does indeed back it up. So my fear is that, this stuff is not over, unfortunately, because so long as these people continue to coddle their violent, mentally ill radicals that are a huge component of the voter base. We're not talking about a small fringe group of crazies. Like, this is a bunch of people. It's 50% of the entire left in America, right? Not just a group of Antifa in Portland or something. They're everywhere. They're nationwide. They're your neighbors. They're your coworkers. It's a widespread epidemic of the sick left-wing bloodlust that's, It's a sad reality, and I don't know how long it persists, right? But again, I say, thank God he's been caught. That's retribution, that's justice enough for Charlie, I guess. And thank God the guy wasn't more professional, frankly, is what I like to say, because this whole situation, in my opinion, still has not inspired a lot of confidence, to be totally honest with you. But anyways, that said, guys, let me know your thoughts. Be sure to leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, and see you guys later.